Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin just officially is starting to break below this crucial area on the price chart, while in the immediate short term, we're also running into a very important level of support. But of course, one of the reasons as to why we're seeing a further dump in the short term for Bitcoin and crypto is thanks to the US stock market now massively dumping, at least in the short term, which I'll talk about in just a moment, why that's the case, alongside the fact that we still have more liquidity, which means new price targets building to the downside. Yes, we still have more downside price targets that we need to pay attention to, while Ethereum is continuing to play out this shorter term warning signal, while Solana is continuing a major rejection from this massive area of resistance. So I'll be talking about all of that and so much more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto charts today, we need to take a quick look at the US stock market, because right now, obviously, after the long weekend of 3 days where the stock market was closed, we finally have the US stock market open back up again as soon as Tuesday came around, and obviously we opened up with a major dump. And now, first of all, of course, the end of last week finished kind of weak. Obviously, we did not have a lot of strength in the market. We were still kind of playing out this shorter term bearish divergence, which is technically still active. We've not yet confirmed an invalidation signal to invalidate this bearish divergence, which means overall expect weakness, potentially a bit more of a pullback. So that's potentially one of the reasons as to why we're seeing a continued pullback in the short term for the US stock market. But of course, if you watched my last video that I posted just yesterday, I said most likely we're going to see a dump in the US stock market when it opens back up again. And why I said that was due to the fact that we had massive new tariff announcements from President Trump over the weekend. And obviously, as we all know by now, anytime there's new tariffs announced, the market does not like that at all. And by market, I'm talking about specifically the stock market and of course the crypto market, because stocks and crypto are highly correlated. It's not a perfect one-to-one correlation, but usually if we see a dump in the stock market, don't be surprised if we also see some sort of dump in the crypto market. And so once again, like I explained in more detail in my last video, if you missed my last video, check it out. But basically, as I said yesterday, there's new tariff announcements that came out over the weekend, which means expect a dump in the US stock market, which also means expect a dump in the crypto market. So overall, that's what's helping to influence this dump in the short term for the stock market, and therefore for crypto moving forward in the short term. And with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin charts today here on the weekly time frame, the super trend indicator is still sitting in the red, and technically we still have this massive bearish divergence, technically still currently active on the weekly Bitcoin price chart. So obviously not much has changed over the last 1 day on this time frame. And if we're taking a look at the 3-day time frame, technically speaking, we also still have this bullish divergence not yet been invalidated, but this is moving closer towards an invalidation now. So once again, not yet been invalidated, but if we see a little bit more of a pullback here in the RSI, start breaking below this ascending line of support here in the RSI, if we see that happen, then that would be one invalidation signal telling us that the bullish divergence is finally over. And so in other words, the next few days, or really the next 1 week, but especially the next few days, are definitely very crucial for the price of Bitcoin to determine what we might be expecting or predicting over the next few weeks or months for the price of Bitcoin moving forward. So keep that in mind. And if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, obviously right now the price of Bitcoin is almost certainly failing that breakout towards the upside. Obviously, we're now breaking back below this area on the price chart. Technically speaking, we still need to wait for a daily candle close to actually confirm the break back to the downside. But overall, obviously, it's not looking very good at all. The current price of Bitcoin as of recording this video is well below this area on the price chart that we needed to hold above in order to keep this bullish breakout active. And in case you're new to this channel, this area that I've been talking about is sitting in between roughly 92,000 to 94,000. So previously, that was very strong resistance, and obviously the moment we broke out above that area, technically speaking, that was obviously a bullish signal breaking out above key resistance. But like I said many times over the last 1 week or so, we needed to hold that level, hold above that level, and actually bounce from that level in order to keep that bullish breakout active. And obviously right now, once again, it's not actually happening. We're simply breaking back below that level, which is invalidating the breakout towards the upside, and is indeed a short-term bearish signal. And so basically the price of Bitcoin is breaking back into this previous sideways price range in between this support and this resistance. Once again, this resistance still sitting at 92 to 94,000, which means if we see another short-term bounce, expect resistance around there again. And as for support, we have a lot of support down here for the sideways price range at around 85 to 86,000. But just before hitting that major level of support down there, if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 6-hour Bitcoin price chart, obviously we can still see this short-term bearish divergence perfectly playing out in the further pullback here. And of course, once again, the dump in the stock market is not doing any favors for Bitcoin in the short term. Once again, if stocks dump, it's very likely we're going to see some sort of bearish move for Bitcoin and crypto, which is now exactly happening. And so overall, once again, this is all still playing out. We're still looking more bearish than bullish in the short term, especially ever since we broke back below 94,000. That was really the key level to watch out for on the price chart. So from that moment onwards, obviously short-term situation not looking good. But with that being said, we do have this short-term level of support, which as I recorded in this video, we're currently running into this level. So it's possible we could see some sort of little bounce here. Once again, don't expect a lot of bullish momentum right now. We simply do not have the strength in the market. So don't necessarily expect a massive bullish trend reversal or anything like that. But potentially we could see some sort of little bit of support or bounce around these levels of support, of course. And right now, this level is sitting at around 89.9k, and I've not moved that level for many weeks now. Previously it was perfect resistance at 89.9k, so close to 90,000, and then it also flipped into support right here, and at least for now, once again, it could still be acting as support. So that is the immediate short-term support to pay attention to at 89,900, and if we break below that level in that situation, expect more support at this level right here based on previous support at around 86.7k to 86.8k. And then once again, if we break below both of those levels, we have this major support in between 85 to 86,000. And it's also worth pointing out that at least here on the 6-hour time frame, we're starting to enter into oversold, which basically means the price is starting to go too far to the downside too quickly in the short term. And maybe within the next 1 or 2 days, we're likely going to see some sort of relief. So not necessarily right this moment. And remember, when I say relief, I don't mean a massive bullish trend reversal, but maybe just a bit of a sideways consolidation or a slight little bounce. So essentially a bit of a break or a relief from all of the bearish price action, most likely at some point within the next couple of days, not necessarily right this instant. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, obviously over the last 1 day, we took out more liquidity that was building towards the downside, which I talked about in my last video. I warned about this liquidity towards the downside, meaning more bearish price targets to come. And right now, I will say the same thing. I'm making a new warning in this video. We have new liquidity building just below the price of Bitcoin. So be aware of this warning signal. Right now, we have a lot of liquidity building at around 89,500, but we also have more liquidity building at almost exactly 89,000, just above 89,000, as you can see. So those are potential price targets. As always, there's no such thing as a 100% guarantee. I'll never say the price is definitely guaranteed to go to any level. There's no such thing as a guarantee, once again. But basically, if we have major liquidity, especially if it's building very close to the current price of Bitcoin, there's a very high probability, a very likely chance that the price will move towards that liquidity to wipe out those levels. So just be aware of that. It is quite likely at some point, maybe after we first find a little bit of support here, it's likely that at some point we'll come back down towards those lower levels to take out that liquidity. But believe it or not, you can still profit during all of this bearish price action using things like short positions, for example, or if you're waiting for some sort of bounce or reversal from one of these levels of support, for example, you could use a long position to profit on an eventual bounce in the price of Bitcoin. But overall, if you want to take any of those trades, you need to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And if you use the first link below this video in the description and in the pinned comment, that first link below the video will take you to the 2bit crypto exchange, where you can take advantage of some major bonuses that you basically can only claim using that link below the the video to 2bit. For example, sign up bonuses, trading bonuses, etc. Over 18,000 USDT in bonuses using that first link below the video to 2bit. And on top of that, 2bit just partnered with La Liga, so there's currently a massive event happening right now over on the 2bit exchange. Huge prizes over there just by trading crypto. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Take advantage of this. Once again, first link below the video. And remember, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, if you want another option out there, another exchange that I also use myself to also claim some extra bonuses on, then in that situation, check out the second link below the video in the description and in the pinned comment, because the second link below this video will take you to the Pinex crypto exchange, this page right here, where you could also take advantage of some major bonuses. So for example, simply just by making an account using that link below the video to Pinex and completing KYC, you get a 50 USDT bonus onto your Pinex account. And on top of that, there's also deposit bonuses here. If you deposit as little as 100 USDT, you get a 100 USDT bonus on your account. If you deposit 10,000, you get a 1,000 USDT bonus onto your Pinex account. So obviously a bunch of basically free money from the exchange, which you can claim using that second link below the video to Pinex if you want to. So obviously, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well take advantage of this. Once again, second link below the video to Pinex. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, and right now in the imminent short term, we're seeing obviously a little bit more of a pump, a little bit more of a shorter term bullish movement in the Bitcoin dominance. But overall, in terms of the larger structure or the larger trend right now on the daily time frame for the Bitcoin dominance, we're still looking somewhat neutral. Obviously, we haven't really broken out of this sideways price range, at least not yet. And so overall, this is still telling us that a lot of the major altcoins out there on average will likely perform very similar price action to whatever Bitcoin is doing, not necessarily much better or much worse, which basically means, of course, with Bitcoin dumping like this, expect something similar to that for a lot of the major altcoins is a very likely scenario. But if the Bitcoin dominance continues up towards this resistance, and then maybe at some point if we break out above that resistance, then of course that would be a massive bullish signal for the Bitcoin dominance, which in that situation, I'm not saying that's happened right now, obviously it's not happened right now, but if that actually happens, that would be very, very bad news for the altcoin market. So just be aware of that. But of course, in that situation, there may be opportunities to short some altcoins to massively profit during some altcoin crashes, for example, if we see a breakout for the Bitcoin dominance. Once again, not happened right now, but in case you're wondering, this area of resistance is sitting in between 60.5% to 61% in the Bitcoin dominance, and the current price right now for the Bitcoin dominance is at pretty much exactly 60%. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, right now the price of ETH is obviously following Bitcoin and stocks with that short-term dump right now. And in fact, right now, as of recording this video, the price of ETH is starting to break below this Fibonacci level of support, which is sitting at around $3,040 to $3,050, but really in between 3,000 to 3.1k is an area of support that I've been watching over the last couple of weeks. And obviously we did see a decent bounce at a bit over a week ago, but right now, as of recording this video, we're pretty much testing 3,000 and possibly about to break below 3,000. And if we confirm this next daily candle close below $3,000, and especially if we fail to get back above that level in the coming days, in that situation, obviously that'll be a short-term bearish signal, just like the break below 94,000 for Bitcoin. Obviously that was a short-term bearish signal telling us to expect more bearish price action is a very likely scenario. So basically expect the same thing for Ethereum. If we first confirm the break below 3,000, expect more bearish price action to follow that move, most likely in the coming days or weeks. And the next massive area of support or level of support to watch out for is sitting at approximately 2.8k, so 2,800 as the next major target or point of support. And if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 8-hour Ethereum price chart, we can clearly see a bearish divergence playing out right now, which, by the way, this bearish divergence is visible across multiple different time frames, like the 12-hour chart, 6-hour chart, etc. But right now on the 8-hour time frame, obviously we have a perfect bearish divergence continuing to play out here, basically following something similar to Bitcoin playing out this bearish divergence right now in the short term. Once again, a bearish divergence as usual means expect either a pullback or maybe some choppy sideways price action, but basically expect a lot of weakness, lacking bullish momentum. And right now, technically speaking, this is still currently active, but it is worth pointing out that we're hitting oversold, which means maybe at some point in the next 1 or 2 days, we could start to see a little bit of a relief, not necessarily right this imminent moment, but within the next 1 or 2 days, we could start to see a little bit of a break from all of this bearish price action. But remember, still expect overall weakness. Don't really expect a massive bullish trend reversal, at least not right now. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame, obviously right now the price of Solana is continuing the perfect rejection from my exact area of resistance, still sitting in between 143 to 147. So obviously that's still acting as massive resistance, which means continue to expect the price to struggle or possibly reject from that area is exactly the words I've been saying for months now on the channel, and obviously is still the case right now. So if the price eventually gets back up there at some stage, still obviously expect a lot of resistance at 143 to 147. And as for support, we've just broken below this previous point of support at around 134, which means that could also now become new resistance if we see a bit of a short-term bounce at 134. Once again, expect resistance around there. And as for the next support to watch out for, we're very close to testing this level of support at around 124 to 125 approximately. So expect some support around there, and if we break below that level, in that situation we'll likely test these local lows at around 116 to 118. And at this stage, we've basically now completed this bullish divergence. Technically, we've not fully confirmed an invalidation. We're getting very close to, but obviously at this stage, it is looking likely we'll start to confirm some sort of invalidation signal very, very soon. So I'll not necessarily rely on this bullish divergence any longer. And obviously with Bitcoin and the stock market, etc., playing out a lot of weakness and a pullback in the short term, expect something similar for a lot of altcoins, which includes Solana. And of course, that also includes the price of XRP. If we're taking a look at the weekly XRP price chart, nothing's really changed on this time frame over the last 1 day. We still have this massive bearish divergence to watch out for, not yet been invalidated, still actively playing out, as I've been saying pretty much every day since early August, even end of July last year, warning about this multi-month pullback. So obviously that's still the case right now, but also consider the fact that we still have a lot of support at around $1.80. And if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, we obviously just broke below that previous short-term level of support at around $2.05. And over the last 1 to 2 days, we did come back for a retest of that area in between $2 to $2.05, and we've now flipped that into new resistance. Obviously, we rejected from that level once we confirmed the break back to the downside. So overall, that's bearish price structure in the short term, breaking below support, flipping that into resistance, which means obviously now expect resistance in between $2 to $2.05. And as for the next support to watch out for, it's possible we could find a small amount of support at around $1.88 based on these previous highs right here, acting as a bit of support. But honestly, the next massive support is at pretty much exactly $1.80. And if the price of XRP actually confirms a break below $1.80, with especially a weekly candle close below $1.80, in that situation, that would be extremely bad news for XRP when we're talking about the next few weeks or months as a very likely scenario. And I gave that same warning over a month ago. Obviously, as we're starting to run into $1.80, I said, get ready. Obviously, we've not yet confirmed the breakdown, but I said, as we're testing $1.80, if we confirm, say, a weekly candle close below that level, that'll be very, very bad news. But obviously, we were lucky over the last 1 month or so. We did hold $1.80 as support. We held that level as support, and we did see a decent bounce. And of course, this bullish divergence playing out over the next 1 to 2 weeks, which is now obviously completed. And right now, we're coming in for another retest of that $1.80 level. So once again, it's crucial for the price to hold this level, because if we fail to hold this level, expect much lower prices over the coming months as a very likely scenario. And if you're wondering what sort of prices I'm talking about very easily we could hit $1.60, most likely down towards $1.30 to $1.40 as a very likely price target. Once again, in between $1.30 to $1.40 as a very likely price target if we first confirm the break. I want to make this clear, if we first confirm the break below $1.80. So we've not yet confirmed that break, which means there's still the possibility we could see another bounce like what we saw last time, but just be aware of that risk. We are getting very close to testing a very crucial level on the price chart for the price of XRP. But obviously in that situation, even in the bearish situation, if we break that level, that's not necessarily bad news if you're a trader. Obviously it might be bad news if you're holding XRP, but if you're a trader, of course, you can profit from that sort of move by shorting XRP to make profit along the way towards the downside, towards these lower price targets. So as always, not financial advice, but that's just pointing out a potential trading opportunity, even if we start to play out the bearish scenario. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at Chainlink on the daily time frame, obviously Chainlink is following the rest of the market and of course the stock market with that short-term dump. So basically expect very similar price action for Chainlink as what Bitcoin and stocks are doing, which obviously is a continued dump in the short term as a very likely scenario. Expect a lot of weakness. Do not expect a significant amount of bullish momentum anytime soon for the price of Chainlink. And as for the next support and resistance to watch out for, now that we've broken below this previous support, they will likely flip into new resistance. First of all, expect some resistance around $12.80 to $12.90, and expect more resistance at around $13.30 to $13.50. And as for the next support to watch out for, which we're getting close to testing right now as of recording this video, that's sitting at pretty much exactly $12, give or take. So really in between $11.90 to around $12. Expect a decent amount of support around there based on these previous lows. But if we break below around $11.90 to $12, in that situation, would likely see a move all the way down towards this previous low, all the way back around June 2025. And that's sitting at around $10.90. So just below $11 if we first confirm the break below $11.90 to $12. But obviously, even during all of this bearish price action, you can still profit in the crypto market using things like short positions, for example, to profit along the way towards the downside. And obviously, if you want to take trades just like that, check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to take advantage of the massive bonuses that are available using those links below the video. If you want to, obviously, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well take advantage of those bonuses using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade these sort of moves, no matter what direction the price goes, to profit no matter what direction the price goes, even if we're going in the bearish direction, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.